Well, another season of NHL down, and another time of having to voice over the dang video. Whoa. Yo, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Atlanta Firebirds franchise mode, where today, another episode of voiceovering. Whoa. So let's get right into this video, because I'm kind of mad, because I'm frustrated about what I did with the freaking episode. So I'm looking at contract extensions here. Looking at who we might give a contract extension to. So I gave one to Edvinson already, and then I think it might have been Rainer Lautner was the other one, and I think I gave one out to Oscar Lindblom because he didn't want a lot of money. So right here, I'm looking through Duclair and all the other players, but I get out of that because I want to go past a few days, see how it goes with the signing of players. Check the awards here, and I'll go through them. So, President goes to Ottawa, Tampa, Atlanta, of course, in the finals. So then we had Bryden Cole win a lot of these. Tyson Berry won the Norris. Pasternak won the Lady Byng, which was very nice. And then there was, Belkov won one. Hazard won the Calder. Braden Point, Conn Smythe, and then I think, Belkoff, and then there was Gibson and Hart. Lambos won Bill Masterton, and then I think it was, Belkoff won the Maurice Richard. I don't know when that happens, but there was a few players here. Plus got the Jack Adams, Couturier, French A. Selke, all that, so very nice. Bryden Cole, of course, got Ted Lindsay. Mostly Bryden Cole and then Belkoff there with the Maurice Richard. So let's move on to looking at what players sign. So as we simulate a day here, Oscar Lindblom, Edvinson, and Lautner all sign on their contracts. So that was very nice. As we go back into the contracts here, we're looking at all the expiring players. So we have Kempe, Atkinson, Duclair, Ryan Johansson is the main guys. So we have to figure out here what's going to happen with our roster, who's going to go, who's going to stay, because they're all very, similar. And as I'm looking at it, I'm looking at Cam Atkinson, especially since he's the same overall as these guys, except he's 36 years old. And I was also looking at Kempe because I didn't want to sign him for too much, so I wanted to see. So Duclair only wanted for $4 million, but we only had $11 million left. So I had to use the money very carefully to who I was going to sign. So I was looking at Cam Atkinson, and then right here, Kempe wanted $4 million. So I offer him that contract. Ryan Johansson, I was gonna see, but then I was thinking about our goalie, Markstrom, and Quinn Carey, and then both the goalies, AHL goalies I could sign. So immediately right here, Quinn Carey won 1.5, which was a very, very good deal on him. And then I wanted to view Markstrom, and I think Markstrom's contract was very overblown. Or not right now, but later you'll see his contract because I didn't sign him immediately. Wanted to make sure which players we're signing to see. So as we simulate a few more days here, we look at the we look at Markstrom, or we look at all the signing players. Sorry, I'm screwing up here through that. But Cam Atkinson here, and Ryan Johansson, we kind of just look at him, and I see $3 million, and I'm like, that's pretty good for Ryan Johansson, especially with what he can do. But right here, I'm still looking at Jacob Markstrom, seeing what can we do with a player like Jacob Markstrom? But I do nothing there, and we just decide to. I don't even know what I'm doing right here. But I think I'm just going to simulate a few, or up to the draft, so I'll talk to you guys when I get there. So the day before the draft, we start looking at all the players that are available for in the draft, and I was really looking at Jonathan Ellington, and if there was a possibility we could have got Ellington, I would have. So I'm looking through everything that he's got here, and he says he has a good shot, meaning that he's either probably a sniper, possibly two-way forward, or a very good power forward, and I was thinking power forward all the way, and so And I ask about his play style, and he says that he loves to be a strong forward. So he was definitely a power forward. And then I was thinking about asking about readiness, which would have actually been a really good idea because it would have given me what he is, and it would definitely give an elite or franchise. So I want to ask about his personality, and it literally says nothing, which was a little weird. Um, Kind of a small glitch there, and so it said well-rounded. So I don't really know what that means because like it didn't give me a rundown. So, but it does say he's most likely a first overall pick. So that's really nice. And if you look at his stats, he looks amazingly good, and I can't wait to see what he can do. So Amir Mink, or yeah, he was. I was kind of looking at all of these guys, and I was more looking for a defenseman, an offensive defenseman, and one guy that caught my eye here and was this Clayton Ciolfito. I don't know how you say it, so I'm just gonna call him um, Clayton C. We'll call him Clayton C. So he was looking very nice. Okay, so like I'm looking at him and I'm like 76 points. This guy better be an offensive defenseman. I'm thinking right now, should I move up in the draft or should I stay with my pick? And if I can't move up, maybe do I make a trade? So to like get that guy because like if anything, I think I would have a better time trying to trade for him. But I look here, so I start doing this, doing a draft interview with him because if he is like an offensive defenseman, it will be really nice. So, I'm asking about stuff here, and it says it's his skating, which is really nice because I love those good skating defensemen. So most likely, I'm like, okay, he's a two-way defender. But but once we ask, it does the same thing, or it almost does that, and then it says he considers himself offensive minded, which was really what I was looking for, because I didn't think I was gonna. As you could see, I mean, we didn't have the same defenseman that we had before, and so we don't have the same defenseman that we really needed. So one thing I'm looking at this Seal Fito or Clayton C, as we'll call him, and all here's what I was thinking when making that play to get that trade. I don't think I'm gonna. I was thinking at the time I'm not gonna keep Goss Despair because when I noticed that we got him, he did really step up what we could do. But the one thing that kind of screwed me up was the fact that he was how much we were paying him for such a low overall. So I was thinking that I could replace him if we could get him. So right here I'm talking to Sven Backer, who is another guy that I was looking at, and he was like 6'4". It says he needs a few years, which I mean I was fine with. If it took him a few years, it took him a few years. And then I wanted to know about his play style. So I'm thinking either defensive or two-way, but he says he was an offensive defenseman. So if we could have got Sven Backer, it would have been really nice. And then it says, and then we changed the subject. And then I wanted to know about his strengths and weaknesses. Wanted to see, is he a good skater? If he is, then I was going to say he was Owen Power 2.0, which his thing was skating. So it was like he's really, really good for kind of like Owen Power like. But as you'll see in the draft here, if we do pick him or not. And it does say he has one thing of elite on him, but I didn't believe that. I was thinking he's either top or medium top 6 or medium top 4. But I was hoping for top 4. So as we get through those interviews here, I don't really, we don't do anything else with the interviews. So we'll just keep simulate. We'll talk about. We'll go into the draft here. So let me give you a rundown of what's going on here. So right here, I'm seeing where we pick. So we're picking 26th. So I'm looking at where I can move up in the draft. I look at Chicago because to move up for Sven Backer to get if we could get Sven Backer, but I wanted to check everything that happened here. As you see right there, Jonathan Ellington was a 83 over here, or 83 overall. Amir Mink was a 79. So two power forwards, and then Tony Karppinen, who was an elite player, left defenseman, looked really good. Defensive defenseman, which was like we weren't looking for them. But then there was that Ciofito, the Clayton C, who was an offensive defenseman, looked really good because of he looked fast and he's had a lot of time to grow. So I was thinking like at the time that was gonna be very. It would have been very nice to get him when we picked up Sven Backer. He was a medium top six, meaning uh, medium top six D man. So like he wasn't what I expected. So right here I'm like, all right, we're making the trade, and it's. Here's what we trade out of here, because I'm looking at Shane Gosper, 83 overall at $7 million. Does not is not a good look. So we trade him away, and then I go looking for picks here. So I give a third and another third because I really didn't care about my picks. I wanted to get that 76 overall medium tops or whatever the heck it was. So, oh yeah, I pick up another player here for I can't remember the reason because I was kind of mad that our player or that the player I chose was kind of bad. So I'm looking through these players. I saw Jonathan Crosby, who kind of looked like a power forward. So I picked him up, and he sucked. So that kind of stinks. That I thought that Jonathan Crosby was going to be a lot better. So I'm starting to look here. I'm like, all right, I'm just trading up here for for Clayton C, and I knew he was going to be good. So I wanted to trade for him. There was no reason not to trade for the guy. So I mean, it would. So we go out and try to get him. So, well, I wanted to get him. I don't know if I actually get him in the draft or if I get him after the draft, but we do get him at some point. So wait until the end. I'll show you the draft like at the end, but no reason to show you my picks. So talk to you guys when I get there. So after the end of the draft, there we really didn't get anything else that was good. So I just go right up to the trade or the contracts to see who we still need to sign. We still have multiple players. I go out and sign the I look at the coaches here because I was like, Pedro Banks has been really good. Like our fourth line has been able to do things that no other fourth line has been able to do because of uh, Banks. So I just signed the coaches. I really didn't care. The coaching chemistry also wasn't too good, but I was starting to think about Pedro Banks, and I didn't know how I was going to feel about Pedro Banks because he was good in the regular, or he wasn't as good in the regular season, but his playoff performances really showed. But if we wanted to get a top spot and play, that fourth ranked team, so it's a little bit easier or better chemistry for the top and power play and penalty kill, because the penalty kill was really killing us. So I wanted a guy that probably would have been good on the penalty kill. So I start looking through players to sign, and it's mostly just Ryan Johansson here. So like and Markstrom. And when we look at Markstrom here, it was not looking too good. But when I looked at Igor Shishkinov, he's a 66 overall now. What a beast. So it was amazing that he went up 10 overall points. And you'll see, he even goes up more by the end, or when the season starts. So I started looking back at, our players, because we needed to sign Ryan Johansson. So, we go down, we start looking at signing him, because I wanted to see, what these players want, because I didn't know if they're going to want more or less from off of, what happened with the last time. So, Markstrom wanted a lot, he wanted like a lot more than what we could have given him. So we got rid of Markstrom. which kind of stunk because he was like doing pretty good as a goalie. But I think that we could definitely get a better goalie out of free agency that might even be able to be 2 overall better. Especially if we could get rid of some cap space. So we sign Ryan Johansson. So right here now we check and we do sign Ryan Johansson and then a bunch of the other players who, you know, they matter but they don't, really matter. Not to the NHL at least. Sorry about that. We were not able to sign Ryan Johansson, so I had to go back in and give him a little bit more money, which I do know this time he does sign, and then the rest of the players. So we do get but the coaches to sign there and Ryan Johansson. So then I just sign the rest of the players. So let's move on to free agency because basically I either get these players to sign or I don't. So talk to you guys when I get to free agency. So we get to the free agency signing phase, and we immediately start looking at coaches. Because guess what? We're not going to keep Banks, so I'm looking at Seth McIver here as our first option of a coach, because I really needed a coach, and I didn't think that, but when I checked him out, I knew immediately we were not going to be able to get him, because of how much he is worth, and our cap space for coaches aren't really the best. So we kind of have to just wait for looking for coaches. So we go in here to look at players. This is one of my favorite parts, to look at what players are available. So we start looking here, and I immediately am like, okay, this is gonna be tough. So let's propose the trade first for that prospect. But I couldn't remember what team he went to, so I had to look him up. So when I get there, I'll when I look him up, I just looked up Clayton because I forgot how to spell his name. So just had to put in his name real quick, which I knew was Clayton, and then I couldn't remember his last name, so had to just look up the Claytons in the NHL, which I knew there was Keller, and then probably a few others that I can't remember. So we searched them up, found them, and we started making a trade for them. So the trade I was looking at was probably Sven Backer and some picks, which was definitely going to be a very tough trade because you kind of knew that they probably didn't want to give him up, but I'm like, I really don't care about picks, and so I literally just went here, traded. I think it might have just been Backer and a first, but let me check here. I think that was Backer and a first. Sorry, I was wrong about that trade. We traded away to get that guy. All we had to trade away was a starting goalie that we got, or not starting, but a medium starter goalie prospect that we got in the draft, and another guy. And I'm looking at Belkoff here, but you guys don't really need to see that. I was just looking at his freakish thing. Like, he's a playmaker and he's just such a goal scorer. So I'll talk to you guys when I get to where we start looking at players. So we go into the free agent market here, and I immediately go out because then I remembered that I guess I had to go back into the trades because I think I wanted to make a trade for something here, and I think it was a player that I wanted to get rid of. But I wanted to point out that Cam Atkinson did retire, so that was a player that was off our books. So that's why you never saw him, because he was he retired. I should have said that, but this was what we when we tried to trade. This is when we tried to trade away Shane Gostisbehere, which I thought we did earlier, but I don't know what happened in that trade because it's very very tough to tell when I'm voiceovering, which is why I hate it. So we look at Boston here because I was looking through prospects of theirs, and I was like, they got nothing, because I was like, they got prospects, but they got nothing else. So I'm like, if anything, I just trade for a second, but I didn't want a second. I mean, they were just so low on things, but I knew Boston was the type of team that would need a guy like Shane Gostisbehere, so I was like, okay, so if they, because I know what I've seen is that their teams just need a defense. So like I was looking for a different like lower offensive defenseman that I could get a pick with. Couldn't find anything really, so I think I just took the pick and went with it. Yeah, I went for the second round pick here, and then I might have just chose a smaller prospect, and I think I was on my way. Yeah, I tried Hogland. I don't know if the Hogland thing worked, so I just took him off second, and that worked. So that was very nice. So we got Shane Gostisbehere off the roster, so that was kind of nice. So the first player I wanted to sign was a goalie, and I was looking at Thatcher Demko, and I was like, this would be really nice, because now that we had Gostisbehere off our books, we had not so much cap space, but we had cap space and cap space to use. So we got him, but now we needed, of course, some forwards and a defenseman, because now we have Gostisbehere and we're missing Cam Atkinson on the roster, so we needed some players. I found a guy that we can sign. His name is Alexander Kovanov, I think was his name. So we pick him up, and while I'm talking, we do get a coach. His name was Laurent Saint Denis, and looks really good, and he had good chemistry. So we get right back into this free agency here. So I don't know what happened to it, but when I was looking through, I know we signed a defenseman. We signed Sean Dursey, but I can't find where we signed him. But as you'll see here, when we look at the lines, you'll see that Sean Dursey is in our lineup. But I just couldn't find it. Wanted to say that signed some really good prospects for this season. And here are the lines, which I do switch up, but I will wait till the next episode to do that. So while this is going on in the background, just don't worry about it because it's not actually the lines. So I just want to say thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You'll see the lines next video, like the actual lines, because of course, they aren't going to be the same as what they are next video, because I know that I do switch up the lines for next video because I figured out some better things. Even though we do get that +3 there and stuff, but I do figure out some new, better lines. So thank you guys for watching. See you guys on the next one.